across in a book that I'm currently reading. I'm reading a book called The Journey to Start With Yourself, and it is by Emma Grede. I didn't say the title verbatim, but something along those lines. And one of the quotes that I came across in the book was, "You can't be what you don't see. You can't be what you don't see." And I believe it goes hand in hand with tonight's theme. I couldn't agree with the statement more. Every victory begins with a vision, a dream, a goal, or a belief in something greater than where you are today. Success doesn't happen by accident. It starts with the courage to imagine, the discipline to persist, and the resilience to keep going even when challenges arise. At Toastmasters, we know that every confident speaker, every leader, every achievement started with someone simply deciding to try. So please join me. Please raise your cups, your glasses. If you have anything, any choice of drink. If you don't have a drink, an imaginary one will do. Please raise your glass and repeat after me. I hope you're all ready. Here is to bold visions. Here is to tenacity. And here is to being what you can see. Cheers.
And cheers.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you for indulging me in the loyal toast this evening. Without further ado, I would love to get straight into it. Tonight's meeting is an exciting one. I'm really excited for tonight's meeting. I hope the agenda was shared in the chat. For our guests who frequent the meeting and our members, you do see that there's a special edition this evening. We have a guest speaker, ladies and gentlemen, a very special guest speaker this evening. And I would encourage you to stay until the end of the meeting so you get to witness greatness at its best. He will be introduced right before he gives his speech. But for now, it's time for us to begin tonight's meeting. And to help me do a stellar job this evening, I have a team of role players. I'm going to call each role player up, and may I ask that you join me on the virtual stage to tell us about your role, and hopefully that will encourage someone else to try and take it up at the next meeting. Our first role player for the day is, I will call up our timer, Matsidiso Tamaki. Matsidiso?
Thank you, Toastmaster. Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. My role in today's meeting will be the timer. Advantage of taking this role is that I will be taking on this role to improve time management skills and also to keep the meeting role players and the meeting itself on time, using a set of green, yellow, and red cards. For prepared speeches, 4 to 6 minutes. At 4 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 5 minutes, the yellow card. And at 6 minutes, I will raise the red card. With the 5 to 7 minutes prepared speeches, at 5 minutes, I will raise the green card. And at 6 minutes, I will raise the yellow card and the red card at 7 minutes. And with the evaluation segment, it's slated for 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 2.5 minutes, I will raise the yellow card. And at 3 minutes, I will raise the red card. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Matsidiso. Next up, I will be calling upon the Hackmaster. Hasina, are you on the call?
There.
Perfect.
Hello, good evening, everyone. So my role today as a Hawk Master, I'll be carefully listening from word to word, from the beginning to the end. At the end of the meeting or when I will be called upon on the stage, I will ask a few questions to check your listening skills. So be attentive, be a listener, and have fun. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Hasina. Next up, I would like to call upon our next role player, who is our unarmed counter, Lidikwa Khabasiane. I did not see her on the call earlier. I am not sure if she's on the call. Zoom Master? Is she on the call?
Not.
Okay, all right, that's fine. I will just introduce the role and we will see how to note it. The purpose of the I&am counter is to take note of our filler words. When we speak, we often use filler words such as or so, just to fill in the gap when we are struggling to find a certain word that we'd like to use. So the role of the I&am counter is to take note of any filler word that we might use and encourage us to use less filler words as we progress in our Toastmasters journey. Thank you. Next up, we have our grammarian. Is our grammarian on the call? Okay, it doesn't seem like our grammarian is on the call. I will take up that role again. The role of the grammarian is to listen to our use of the English language, to pay attention and note any interesting words that we might use, any unfamiliar phrases that aren't usually used in our everyday language, and to also introduce the word of the day. Today's word of the day is tenacity. If you were paying attention, you would realize that I used it in my introduction. So I'm getting points for that. The word tenacity means the quality of being determined and persistent, especially when faced with difficulties or challenges. And how you would use it in a sentence is, with great tenacity, he continued pursuing his goals even after repeated setbacks. That's just the way of how you can incorporate the word of the day into your vocabulary or your speeches this evening. I would encourage all our speakers, whether it be the prepared speeches, the table topics, evaluators, the role players, please try as much as possible to incorporate the word of the day in your speech today to elevate your speech. Right. I hope we have our table topics master on the call. Do we? Chandada, are you on the call? Look.
Yes, I am. Good evening, Toastmaster of the day. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. My role this evening is the table topics master. Basically, I will be challenging all of you on the call with impromptu speech. So basically, I'll be asking a question and I'll give you between 1 minute and 2 minutes to answer the question. So you really just answer right on the spot. Hence the word impromptu speech. Basically, that's my role for today. Quite easy if you ask me. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Yes, ma'am. Very easy. I do encourage people to raise their hands to take up table topics. It can be daunting, but you always feel proud of yourself once you take up that challenge. Right. Next up, we have our general evaluator, Tumelo Mapalala. Please join me on the virtual stage.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening. Good evening, Gaborone Toastmasters, visiting Toastmasters, and guests. Tonight, I have the pleasure of serving as the General Evaluator. As General Evaluator, my role is to run the evaluation segment of the evening. That is where we'll be getting feedback on the prepared speeches delivered here tonight. I will also give an overall summary of the feedback for Gaborone Toastmasters so that they too can continue to improve their meetings. Thank you, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. I look forward to the GE session later on. Right, I believe we are all set. Our role players are set, and it's time to begin our first session of the evening. We have 3 sessions this evening: prepared speeches, our special edition, which is guest speaker edition. We also have the final section, which will be the evaluation section. It's quite a jam-packed meeting this evening. Without further ado, I would like for us to begin with our speeches. First up, we have our first icebreaker this evening. This lady has prepared her icebreaker, and she will be giving her first ever speech here at Gaborone Toastmasters. To evaluate her, we have Thulaganyo Tshwaneagai. Thulaganyo Tshwaneagai, may you please join me on the virtual stage to give us the speech evaluation, speech objective, my apologies, for Katlego this evening.
Thank you, Madam Toastmasters. Good evening to you. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and especially to my speaker, Ms. Katlego Lentsokwane. So it is my pleasure to serve you as your evaluator this evening. Katlego will be presenting her very first icebreaker speech under Visionary Communication Level 1. And the project title, and her project title is Icebreaker. Her speech title is Beyond the Beaker. So the purpose of her project is basically to introduce herself to the club, as she will be beginning her Toastmasters journey of developing her confidence and also polishing her public speaking skills. Basically, the purpose or the objective of her icebreaker speech is to share with everyone just the aspects of her background, her interests, who she is, what she would like us to know about her, and also just to establish a connection with the audience. So I'll be focusing my evaluation into 3 parts for my speaker. The first part, I'll be focused on what she excelled at or what I love more about her speech. And the second aspect is areas where she can work on to further her growth. And lastly, I would also look at challenges, what she can basically challenge herself in. That's all. Thank you, Madam Toastmasters.
Thank you, Thulaganyo. Right, ladies and gentlemen, if it was an in-person meeting, we'd all be standing up, waiting to give her a standing ovation. But because we are online, it's fine, it's fine. We'll work with what we have. I would like for us to give a round of applause, or rather welcome our first speaker this evening, Katlego Lentsokwane. Katlego Lentsokwane with Beyond the Beaker.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My name is Gaborone Toastmasters. I am presenting about the missing element. Did you hear what I said? Did you hear that I said my name is Katlehole Ntsokwane? I doubt that. Because even I can barely hear myself. But that was me during one of the presentations at the early stages of my MSc. Giving a presentation in a room full of professors and doctors with my hand on my mouth. One of the lecturers even had to say, "Remove your hand from your mouth, please." That comment left me trembling. My PowerPoint slides started looking unfamiliar. The presentation was horrible. So after that presentation, I asked myself, what is missing, Katlehole? Academically, I was doing well. I loved chemistry. I still do. I was working hard. I was known as a brilliant student. But when it came to presentations, it was something else. I hid behind my head. So it was during that moment that I realized that the missing element is communication. Communication skills, a critical social skill. I lacked the ability to connect with the audience when presenting, or even when just chatting. So I shared that experience with one of my friends. In fact, with several of my friends. One of them, Theo Malaysia, recommended this club, Toastmasters Club. He told me about the club and even shared the link for me to start attending the meetings. That was last year during winter. So I started attending the meetings through his account. Later on, I started attending with my account. But I did not join the club during that year. I only managed to join the club this year, April. So the question is, why did I not join the club? Because I could see the benefits of this club. I could see that what missed in me, I can only find it in this club. Yet I did not join. Why did I not join? I did not join the club because of my schedule, because of my hectic schedule. Now, as a PhD first year student, I find my schedule always hectic. So hectic that I believed I was not going to be able to prepare for the presentations. Yes, I knew. To become a great scientist, to become someone who could confidently share ideas, inspire people, and speak without hiding behind fear or even behind my own hands. I needed to join this club. So then I realized I needed tenacity. I needed to be unwilling to give up just because of my hectic schedule, just because of the challenges I have with the schedule. So even now I am trembling. So, ladies and gentlemen, I joined this club with the hope that I will be able to fight the fear of presenting, the fear of standing in front of people and communicating. I joined this club hoping that I will be able to find the missing element, hoping that I will be able to become the good scientist who is not only good at mixing chemical A and chemical B to get chemical C in the beaker. I'll be able to find the missing element in me, communication skills. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Yay! SAA, may we please have a round of applause for our first icebreaker speech of the evening. Lovely. Thank you so much. Congratulations, Ataho, on taking your first step to being an exceptional speaker. Right. We have a second icebreaker speech this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, please, I do apologize for the error in the agenda. Our next speaker is an icebreaker, and she will be evaluated by Leah Musunga. Leah, may you please join me on the virtual stage to give us the objectives of Geleto's speech this evening.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. As stated, I am evaluating an icebreaker speech. So this is, again, as previously stated, a speech where the member is practicing the basics of preparing a speech in terms of understanding how to do the introduction, the middle, and having a conclusion. And just like our previous speaker, so I'll just be, those are the things that I will be looking out for as the speaker will be coming to present. And in terms of the speech title, I thought I would share let me just share the screen. So Geleto is presenting, like I said, icebreaker, and the speech title is The Marathon Lesson, Finding Resilience in the Unknown. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day, to introduce our next speaker.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Geleto Maidi, The Marathon Lesson, Finding Resilience in the Unknown. Finding Resilience in the Unknown, Geleto Maidi.
Excuse me.
You are visible and we can hear you.
You're fine,
Am I
Geleto.
visible? Okay.
Yes, and we can hear
Yes,
you.
please start.
All right. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. My name is Geleto Maidi. If life was a marathon, mine would be a hilly one with bumpy road and unexpected turns, and having to go on even when my legs and my confidence wanted to stop. I love fitness. I'm a fitness fanatic. Gym taught me discipline, and running taught me consistency. And together, they taught me that growth happens when you keep pushing, even beyond the point where you want to quit. Professionally, I document processes and I do process engineering and manage management systems. But there's only one process that I cannot fix. That is myself. Last year, October, my manager and I normally conduct or facilitate workshops. So last year, we had a workshop around about October. Normally, I'll assume my position of just doing the slides and introducing people. So it took a 10, just like in a marathon. She introduced the audience, and then all of a sudden she said, okay, let's all take over the rest of the session. My goodness. It felt like I was thrown into a dungeon and I couldn't find my way out. I was so scared. My heart was racing, and the only time my heart raced like that is when I do interval trainings. So I just stood in front of the people, bearing my head, reading every note that I could possibly see. The funny thing is, I and her had prepared the interview. I and her had prepared the notes together. But knowing the content and speaking confidently in front of people are two different races. I guess you know that. Here I am right now, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, I cannot see how far I am with the time. There's something that I did on my screen. But I am here to overcome that fear that happened last year. Because there will be several of these presentations coming, and I'm expected to lead them. But I guess this is my first stepping stone to come to Toastmasters and learn to be free and learn to take out that stage fright. You can imagine somebody running so many kilometers but cannot walk in front of a room to speak to people. So, fellow Toastmasters, I will take my public speaking with great tenacity and reach the goal where I want to go. Thank you.
Oh, yes. It's interesting how you kind of compared your public speaking to running. That was an interesting analogy. Well done to you, Keleto Maidi, and congratulations on this first step. I look forward to seeing you take up your public speaking with great tenacity, similar to what you do when you are on the field. I've seen you run, and ma'am. Right.
Thank you.
Next
Please
up, we
unmute
have
me.
our next speaker, who is Ndapiwa. She will be evaluated by Toastmaster Tumelo. Toastmaster Tumelo, please join me on the virtual stage to introduce Ndapiwa's speech objectives.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster of the evening. Tonight, I have the pleasure of evaluating Ndapiwa van der Brink as she pursues the Presentation Mastery Level 1, Project 2, Writing or Giving a Speech with a Purpose. The objectives of her speech are simple. They're for her to deliver a speech with a defined purpose. Ndapiwa is giving her second speech, which means she has learned the basic structure of a speech, and this time around, it should have a defined purpose. This purpose can be either motivational, educational, or whichever she chooses, and the style can be however she chooses, be it humorous or anything at all. I look forward to hearing from her. Over to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tumelo. Ladies and gentlemen, Please let's welcome Ndapiwa Vanderbrank. I hope I did not butcher your surname. With The Road to Success. The Road to Success, Ndapiwa Vandenbrank.
Good evening. Good evening, Toastmasters, distinguished guests, visionaries, and victors. Tonight, I will be speaking to you about vision to victory. I would like you to close your eyes for just a second and think about something that you've always wanted to do, something that scares you, something that makes people look at you funny and ask you, are you sure? That something is your vision. The distance between your vision and where you are today is your journey. With that being said, in order to get close to our journey, to our vision, the first thing we have to do is take action. One thing that we all know, but rarely like to admit, is that a vision without action is merely a wish. And wishes are wonderful. They can be beautiful. But a wish has never changed a life. All of us have some goals, some dreams in our hearts. For some of us, it's to start a business. For others, it's to learn a new skill. For others, it's to mend that relationship. In order for us to get started, we need to get moving. And when the moving gets tough, we need to call on our tenacity. Now, one secret that is rarely shared about victory is that victory does not come in one giant leap. Victory starts with one small step, followed by another small step and another small step. For example, climbing a mountain. Climbing a mountain is climbed one step at a time. Writing a book is written one page at a time. Even building an empire is established one victory at a time. You may ask, how do I go about taking that first step? And the answer to that is building a routine. Routines are very important. Now, motivation burns hot and fast like a flame. But routines are like coal. They burn slow and they burn long through the night. I can tell you about one simple routine that has changed lives. And that routine is making your bed every morning. Now, I know it sounds small, it's just making your bed. What has making your bed got to do with greatness? Making your bed every morning sets you up for success in this simple way. You start your day by achieving one of your goals. And by achieving a goal very early in the day, that whispers to you that you can do the next one and the next one. And that is how you get started on your routines. Now I'm going to give you some practical ways that can also help you attain your victory. The first one will be to start small. Start exactly where you are with what you have. Instead of saying, I want to run a marathon like our fellow Toasty, you could start with, I want to walk for 30 minutes every day. Instead of saying, I want to write a book, you could start with writing a paragraph. And if you, for example, want to change the world, you can start by helping one person today. Victory is not only the trophies, the titles, the fancy office. Victory also comes in you looking at yourself in the mirror and thinking to yourself, I did not quit today. It can be you going to bed at night, knowing that you are one step closer to your goal. Now, when you get to the finish line, because you will, the world will cheer. They love that stuff. But the real victory comes in the small moments, the quiet moments, when you are by yourself, working tirelessly with tenacity towards your goals. All of us here can attain that victory. And not because we are special. No, no, no. Simply because we are willing to start. Thank you, Toasties. Thank you, distinguished guests. That is what I have for you tonight.
Victory is looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I did not quit today. Words from our beauty queen, ladies and gentlemen. Take those words into consideration and meditate on them. Thank you very much for that presentation, Ndabiwa. Thank you. Thank you. Next up, we have our next speaker, who will also be evaluated by Tumelo Maphalala. Tumelo Maphalala, please join me on the virtual stage to introduce Ithing's speech objectives.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the evening. I come back this time with the honor to evaluate Toastmaster Ithing Monoru, who is also likewise, like the previous speaker, delivering her second speech at Toastmasters, a speech with a purpose. She's pursuing the dynamic leadership pathway, and similarly to the previous speaker, the objectives are for her to deliver a well-structured speech with a clear purpose. And this may be any that she chooses, and the style of delivery likewise is any that she chooses. So back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tumelo. Ladies and gentlemen, Ithing Monoru, the pursuit of excellence. The pursuit of excellence, Ithing Monoru. Hi, Ithing. Are you on the call? I don't. Okay.
Is she on the call?
Is,
Okay. Let's just give her a
but
few seconds.
I don't know if she's having trouble with her sound, but her mic and camera are on. However, we're not seeing anything. Hi, Ithing.
Yeah, I see that her mic and camera are on. Okay. Ithing. Okay, still nothing. Let me just request that we move on to the next speaker and give you some time to try and sort out the connectivity in the interest of time. I hope that's okay with everyone. Next up, we have Chandada. Chandada will be evaluated by Oh, no. My apologies. Our next speaker is Kagiso Kelebemang, and she will be evaluated by Tshepo Magoe. Tshepo Magoe, please tell us about Kagiso's speech objectives this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Tonight, I have the pleasure of evaluating Kagiso Kelebemang, who will be delivering her Level 2 project, Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring. The purpose of Kagiso's project is for the member to clearly define how Toastmasters envisions mentoring and share some aspects of a previous experience as a protege. I look forward to hearing from you, Kagiso. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tshepo. Ladies and gentlemen, Kagiso with The Day I Stopped Waiting. The Day I Stopped Waiting, Kagiso.
Good evening, Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, and distinguished guests. Now, let me take you back to a moment I remember very clearly. I was sitting in a room in a meeting, and not just any meeting. It was a meeting where decisions were made, a meeting where people spoke with certainty. It was a meeting where either you contribute or you just disappear. And I chose the safe option. I put my head down, scribbling notes, nodding, and repeating sentences in my head, trying to rehearse over and over again. But at the end of the day, I still didn't contribute into the meeting because I was scared, asking myself, what if I say something wrong? What if someone doesn't agree with what I'm suggesting? And after that moment, I did what a lot of people did. That is replaying the meeting over and over again, bashing myself with questions, wondering, why didn't I speak up? That point, I knew it. And why didn't I just speak? Now, here's one thing that I now recall. It's that it's not that I didn't have anything to say, but it was because I didn't believe that I have a right to say it. Now, from that day onwards, I joined a mentorship program through Mentorly Africa. I was assigned a mentor that I truly believed that I was aligned with. Now, being the perfect protege, I went there prepared with explanations that I'm still learning the job, that I don't want to rush it, or I just started. And in my head, it sounded all reasonable. Of course you understand. But here, my mentor patiently listening to all my excuses. And she asked me one question. She said, Kagiso, what exactly are you waiting for? Now that question made me pause for a minute because I didn't have an answer for that. Well, I didn't have a good explanation, so I chose the first thing that came into my mind, which was, I'm waiting for confidence. But here's what she said in response. Confidence doesn't come before the moment. Confidence comes with the moment. And that really stuck with me. That don't wait for the perfect time, but just seize the moment and do it. A few weeks later, I found myself in the same room, same meeting, same pressure, same decision makers. And again, I had something to say. And this time it was different because I could recall my mentor's voice asking, what are you waiting for?
with my heart racing, with my hands shaking, with my mind running, rehearsing my sentence over and over again, I decided to speak. Now, here's the surprising thing. No one in the room was shocked that I contributed. No one didn't go silent. No one questioned my presence. And in fact, the conversation just continued and moved forward, which clicked something in my head that I actually belong, that I have a voice and I can speak up. Now, that moment wasn't perfect because my heart was racing, but it was a powerful moment because I realized that I was the one that was stopping myself, and not everyone else. Now, the journey didn't become easy. Yes, I still get nervous. Yes, I still doubt myself. Yes, I still rehearse sentences in my head. But what's different is that I have a reference point that I can always step forward. I can always speak up. I don't have to be ready and I don't have to be perfect. Now, through my mentorship journey, I learned that growth doesn't come with an announcement that, yay, suddenly you're confident, proceed. No, growth comes with speaking even when your voice is shaking. It means taking up responsibilities even though you're not fully equipped. So, fellow Toastmasters, if you find yourself sitting in a room, doubting yourself, wondering if you can speak up, take up a role, I need you to remember this, that confidence is not something you wait for, but it's something that you work towards and build. And sometimes you need just 3 things: a mentor, a decision to speak, and lastly, with the cherry on top, you need some tenacity. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters.
Congratulations, Kagiso. Absolutely. Confidence comes in the moment, even with trembling hands and a voice or a heart, rather, that's racing. Just be in the moment and you will feel the growth and confidence as you do it over and over and over again. Thank you very much for that speech, Kariso. Next up, we have our next speaker, who is Chandada, and she will be evaluated by Lame Mtetwa. Lame, please join me on the virtual stage to introduce Chanda's speech objectives.
Thank you, Toastmaster Palesa. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My name is Lame, and this evening I'll be evaluating Chandada. Chandada's speech, the purpose of Chandada's speech is for her to demonstrate her understanding of how to use presentation software and incorporating technology in her speech. And this is what I'll be looking out for in her speech as she delivers her speech. I'll be looking out for clear and legible and effective slides that enhance her speech and her topic. All the best to you, Chandada. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lame. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Chanda with the power of first impressions. The power of first impressions, Chandada.
Have you ever
Okay.
met someone for the first time and immediately decided whether you liked them, trusted them, or even wanted to continue talking to them? The truth is, most of us do this naturally and very quickly. Research has actually shown that people form first impressions in less than 1 second. Before we even finish introducing ourselves, others have already formed opinions about our confidence, trustworthiness, professionalism, and even our personality. Today, I'll be speaking about the power of first impressions, why they matter, what shapes them, and how we can improve them in both professional and personal environments. Basically, how to win people in 30 seconds. First impressions are important because they influence opportunities and our relationships. Think about job interviews, presentations, networking events, or even meeting someone for the first time socially. Often people decide how seriously they will take you based on that first impression. A positive first impression can build trust, open opportunities, create confidence, and strengthen relationships. On the other hand, a negative first impression can be difficult to reverse. This is because people tend to remember the first feeling they had about someone, even when later experiences may prove otherwise. I'm sure it's happened to the most of us. That is why first impressions matter so much in today's world. According to research conducted by the Princeton University, people can make judgments about someone's competence and trustworthiness almost instantly. This means that before you even fully explain yourself, your body language, appearance, and energy are already communicating on your behalf. In many cases, people remember how you made them feel more than the exact words you said. Exactly influences first impressions. There are 4 major things that influence first impressions. Firstly, your appearance. This is the way we dress and present ourselves. It really sends a message. You know how you would feel, ladies, when you just came from the hair salon and you have a new hairstyle? It's like a confidence booster. This does not mean wearing expensive clothing. It simply means looking neat, clean, and appropriate for the environment. People often associate appearance with professionalism and confidence. Secondly, we've got body language, which is extremely powerful. Our eye contact, posture, facial expressions, and gestures that all communicate confidence and interest. For example, looking down constantly may appear insecure. Folding your arms may seem defensive. Smiling and maintaining eye contact creates warmth and trust. Sometimes our body language speaks louder than our words. Thirdly, it's the tone of voice. How we speak matters just as much as what we say. A calm, clear, and confident tone creates a positive impression. Speaking too softly, may make someone seem uncertain, while speaking aggressively may come across as intimidating. Lastly, it's our confidence. Confidence attracts people. Confident individuals tend to appear more prepared, capable, and trustworthy. Even simple things like standing tall, speaking clearly, and introducing yourself properly can make a huge difference. How can we improve our first impression, you may ask? We can dress appropriately. Choose clothing that suits the environment and makes you feel confident. We know how it is when you wear something tight and you can barely breathe. You can't even look at some people straight in the eye. But when you're in a comfortable piece of clothing, it's a walk in the park. Smiling genuinely, a genuine smile, immediately it just creates the warmth. being confident, listening actively, and just the way you introduce yourself. Make it clear, make it confident. There's candidate A and B. I want you to just think about who you would hire. The first candidate, candidate A, avoids eye contact, arrives late, gives weak responses. Candidate B arrives prepared, smiles confidently, maintains good posture. This is the power of first impressions. As I conclude, I would like you to remember 3 important things. First impressions happen quickly. Secondly, they strongly influence opportunities and relationships. Most importantly, they can be improved through preparation and self-awareness. In life, we may not always get a second chance to make a first impression, whether in school, business, or interviews. By improving our appearance, communication, confidence, and body language, we can create stronger and more positive connections with others. Thank you. Over to you, fellow Toastmaster of the day.
Woo! SAA, where's my round of applause? Thank you for that informative presentation, Chandada. Very informative. Thank you very much. Next up, actually, maybe before we go ahead to our final prepared speaker, I'd just like to find out if Itheng was able to join the call. Was she able to sort out her technical challenges? I don't see her. Okay, that's fine. Let us proceed. Right.
Sorry, she's on the call. She's on the
Okay.
call, but I don't know if she's able to speak. Maybe it's the bandwidth, because the speaker she's unmuted herself and so is the video, but we don't see anything. I don't know if she's
Okay.
able to talk, but there's no sound, doesn't appear to be any audio coming from her.
Okay. Thank you very much, Madam President. I think if you can hear us, we will proceed and defer you to our next meeting next week. I hope that's okay. Right. Next up, we have our final prepared speaker, who is Kagelelo Mokgotsi, and she will be evaluated by Layson Laser. I hope I did not butcher your name. Layson, please join me on the virtual stage to introduce Kagelelo's speech objectives.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam TMOD. I know you pronounced the name right on point. This evening we have Toastmaster Galelo Mogotsi, who's pursuing presentation mastery level 3. And she's working on a project where she's exercising her researching and presenting skills. And the purpose of her speech is to learn basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech. The length of Toastmaster Mogotsi's speech is going to be 5 to 7 minutes. And the title of her speech is Benefits of Traveling. Back to you, Madam TMOD.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm glad I didn't butcher your name. Lovely. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Kagelelo Mokgotsi with the benefits of traveling. The benefits of traveling, Kagelelo Mokgotsi.
Edward Troffman conducted a survey where he found out that 82% of people aged between 18 and 39 reported that traveling provides various psychological benefits. From this, we can assert that traveling goes beyond simply taking a break from your daily routine. Madam Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, esteemed guests and visitors, greetings. While traveling certainly provides relaxation and enjoyment, it can also encourage personal growth. When we step outside of our comfort zone and enter into unfamiliar environments, we are challenged or forced to face our fears and limitations, revealing strengths we did not know we possess. I can give a personal account of this. It was last year, September, when my sister and I traveled to London. The morning of the 7th was filled with so much anticipation and excitement for the journey ahead. We thoroughly packed all the necessary documents to enter the UK. Our flight itinerary showed departure at 9:15 in the evening. So around 12, we're already leaving Botswana. At around 1, we're in OR Tambo finding ways to kill time. At 6, we're in the check-in queue, where I noticed a gentleman about 180 centimeters tall and dark in complexion. He was assisting travelers. When it was our turn, he asked, "Where are you guys traveling to?" We replied, "London." "Is it your first time or you've been there before?" "It is our first time." It was as if the simple answer triggered something in him. He firmly guided us out of the queue. And although we had been warned about the treatment at this airport, we are confident we have all the documents required. Shouldn't take time. Well, joke's on us, because what followed was a back and forth, us repeatedly explaining ourselves, while the officer remained stubborn, dismissive, and difficult to reason with. At 8 o'clock, he was still refusing to check our documents. He even claimed with certainty in his voice, "I am 100% sure they will not allow you in the UK. In fact, they will return you." He claimed that first-time travelers are not allowed in the UK, which was absurd to me, because obviously you need to be a first-time traveler to visit a place for the first time. That's when I discovered that my tenacity wasn't going to persuade the unwilling. So I returned to my seat beside my sister, and we allowed the ordeal to unfold. Yet there was this quiet anxiety building. What will happen if we miss the plane? Where will we sleep at this hour? And yet we forced ourselves to remain calm. At 9 o'clock, just 15 minutes before the plane takeoff, he finally decides to check our documents with a UK border agent on the call. This call didn't even take that long. This experience unlocked something in me, that I can intentionally control my emotions and remain composed. Because on an ordinary day, I would be impulsive. I would let frustration take over. A testament that traveling isn't always the excitement. It tests your patience, your emotional strength, and resilience. Another benefit of traveling is that it broadens our perspectives by exposing us to various cultures and lifestyles. I came across a term called affective learning, which Zhu Ting explains as learning that facilitates acquisition of knowledge and understanding. And in fact, while I was doing my research, I learned that early origins of traveling was always associated with the desire to learn. I too had the desire, the excitement to learn about the Lesotho culture when I traveled to Lesotho for ThriveCon 2 weeks back. Day 2 of the program of day 2 was filled with a lot of activities, one of which was hiking Thaba Bosiu with a guided tour. I learned a lot from this hike, like how the mountain got its name. It is said that Kim Moshweshwe and his regiment had a night schedule to protect and guard the mountain from the colonizers who were trying to seize it. Because of this, with passing of time, it was called Thaba Bosiu. I also learned about a tradition of laying down weapons before entering the village, right at the plateau. As we're climbing the mountain, the tour guide asked us to grab a stone. With so much curiosity, of course, but he said we'll find out soon. When we reached a point called Tapelong, the stone cairn, we were asked to lay down our weapons. In our case, the stones we had earlier picked. But what was interesting was you had to say something as you were laying down your weapon. Dikgomo mora mokgatjhane. This was a custom for the king's visitors, who would lay down their weapons as a sign of respect and peace. In his 2013 studies on educational benefits of traveling, James Patrick said, traveling creates an opportunity for people to learn about other cultures. My trip to Lesotho afforded me that opportunity. As I conclude, let me once again emphasize that traveling goes beyond satisfaction and enjoyment. It fosters personal growth. We get to learn, you get to increase your understanding. So, if you ever have the opportunity to travel, even if it's not far, take it. And when you do, travel with a purpose. Thank you very much.
As I wait for Thank you, Toastmaster Kagelelo Mokgotsi. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. Travel with a purpose. Thank you very much for that presentation. And we have come to the end of our first speech segment, which is that of prepared speeches. We now move on to our second segment. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters and guests, you will excuse my giddiness over our next segment. We have a guest speaker in the house, and I and a couple of other fellow Toastmasters were lucky enough to witness this man's presentation mastery at ThriveCon in Lesotho a couple of weeks ago as a contestant finalist. Ladies and gentlemen, you are in for a treat. Our speaker this evening is none other than Themba Ntuli. Themba is a graduate from Wits University School. He graduated in actuarial science. And after spending a few years in pension fund and consulting and banking, he ventured into business, where he currently operates companies in forestry, mining, and biotechnology. Ladies and gentlemen, Themba is our District 74 International Speech Contest finalist. And although he didn't take home the award or the cup, although I believe he should have taken it. That's my personal opinion. Not to be, I'm not trying to cause controversy, but that's my personal opinion. And I believe that after you witness his speech this evening, you'll see just how brilliant and wonderful the speech was. You have a front row seat to witnessing the type of caliber that's required in speech competitions. Without further ado, I would like to welcome our guest speaker this evening, Themba Ntuli, with Breaking Through. Breaking Through, Themba Ntuli.
Boom! Shots fired. The battle line has been broken. Conflict is an inseparable aspect of the human condition. Young men and women have since time immemorial recounted the names of their heroes who have fought and won battles. And recently I got thinking, what might be considered the greatest battle of all time? Madam Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmasters present and online, Cain and Abel certainly set the tone for biblical history. But some would say it's the Battle of Cannae between the North African Empire of Carthage and the Roman Empire. Here, General Hannibal mounted 45,000 men and launched an attack on Rome, defeating a 90,000 strong Roman army at the height of Rome's power, changed the course of history. But consider for a moment the internal conflict that Hannibal contended with in the days leading up to that battle. Fear, anxiety. On this side of the equator, many might argue that the greatest battle was the Battle of Isandlwana between AmaZulu and the British. Now, this battle was set into motion when King Cetshwayo was served with an ultimatum: surrender to the British crown or face annihilation. King Cetshwayo refused. And on the 11th of January, 1879, the Redcoats marched into Zululand. The British suffered their first ever defeat in open battle. The news reverberated throughout Europe. But even then, not many people know that in the days leading up to that battle, King Cetshwayo actually capitulated to British demands. Fear, self-doubt. It wasn't until his young soldiers, Amabutho, turned back from delivering a surrender notice and said, "King, we've chosen war." And so it is, Toastmasters, for you and I, that the battles that occur outside of us are small compared to the battle that happens within, the battle against fear, self-doubt. When I was 21, I received news that changed my life. My girlfriend was pregnant. How many of you in the room had your first child at 22 years or under? Now, the circumstances may be different, but there's one common starting point: shock. And in my case, how did this happen? Tamba, we know how it happened, okay? We all know how it happened. But then the questions start rushing in. What kind of a parent will I be? How are we going to afford this child? Will I still get to watch The Simpsons? Psychologists refer to this as cognitive distortion, our tendency
Fellow Toastmasters, I believe we have lost our guest speaker. Oh no. Please just give him a few seconds. Hopefully he'll be able to
He
rejoin the
just
call.
texted. He
Okay.
said he has the power outage, but he's trying to reboot on backup power.
Oh. That's
Let's
quite
give him a few.
unfortunate.
Oh my gosh!
Kimelo, you sound just as giddy as me. Calm down, calm down. Okay. While we wait for him, I believe we can take the timekeeper's report. It's just 2 to 3 minutes. Let's see. Matsiriso, are you
Okay,
ready?
thank you, Madam
Yeah.
Master of the Day. Yes,
Thank
I'm
you.
here. Okay. Yes. Timekeeper report goes as follows. Our first speaker, Katleho Lentsokwane, spoke for 6 minutes. Keletso Maidi went a little under 4 minutes. She spoke for 3 minutes, 40 seconds. Ndapiwa spoke for 6 minutes. Kagiso Kelebemang, 6 minutes. Chandada, 6 minutes, 30 seconds. And our last speaker, Kagelelo Mogoti, spoke for exactly 7 minutes. Thank you. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Madam Timer. I'm just going to check if our guest speaker is back on the call.
He's entering right now.
Okay.
Please ask him to start where his girlfriend is pregnant.
Yes, ma'am. I shall definitely do that. And fellow Toastmasters and guests, please just give us a few. Oh, yes, he's back on the call. Hi, Temba. Are you back? Your line's not clear yet, so we'll just give it a few seconds.
Just give me a second.
Okay, we can see you. We can see you and we can hear you.
Now, as I was saying, psychologists refer. Yeah.
Yes.
Good?
I believe you can begin at the part where you said your girlfriend was pregnant.
We good?
Yes, we're good.
Psychologists call this cognitive distortion. Our tendency as human beings to focus on worst case outcomes. Apparently, our brains are wired to prioritize survival over reward, which makes sense. So, for instance, in the Great King's example, he feared being annihilated by the British much more than he had the hope of the reward of glory. In my case, I feared diapers, lots and lots of diapers, with little diaper feet chasing me around the house screaming, "Daddy, Daddy!" Oh, I mean, you may laugh, but I was petrified, you know? Did I mention that I was 21? Toastmasters, my point is this. I believe that our greatest battle is not the battle of Isandlwana or some battle out there, but it's the battle within, the battle against self-doubt, the battle against the things we fear. Because fear arises when the stakes are really high. And the cost of staying in fear is often equally high. For instance, the fear of change keeps us locked into old habits. The fear of loneliness pushes us into unhealthy relationships. The fear of failure blunts our ambition. The fear of rejection allows opportunity to slip through our fingers. And the irony is that it's all imagined. It's the story we tell ourselves that scares us the most. But the cost of staying in the fear is experienced in real time, which is why I love what Franklin D. Roosevelt said when he said, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." What are you afraid of? What's keeping you up at night? What are the anxieties that you're battling with? Personally, 3 things helped me to overcome the fear of being a young parent. Number 1, I told myself a different story. Instead of being an old and tired dad, I was going to be a young, hands-on, energetic, rich dad. Still working on the rich part. Number 2, I gathered information. You see, fear germinates in the darkness of ignorance. And so I spoke to family members, especially those who had at some stage said to themselves, how did this happen? And number 3, my wife and I took immediate action and the small steps that would direct our lives towards starting a family. And today, we have 2 adult sons who are both respectful and self-respecting, the joy of our lives. But let me correct that. We have 1 adult son. Our youngest turns 21 at the end of this month. Now, he may receive news that changes his life. And should he fall into a pit of fear and be unable to dig himself out from that pit, I'll say to him, son, reimagine a story that excites you, not one that scares you. Collect information that will give you the courage to take the action and break through the boundaries of fear. Madam Toastmaster.
That is our champion. Thank you very much, Themba Ntuli. Thoroughly enjoyed your speech this evening. I hope you can stay until the end of the meeting. I'm sure there's a couple of people that would like to just ask you a few questions regarding your international speech contest speech. If you're available, please do stay on the call. Otherwise, fantastic. Thoroughly enjoyed the speech once again. I've been looking forward to that speech. I think for me, the thing that I noticed in your speech the last time was a quote where you said, fear germinates in the darkness of ignorance. Perfect. Well said. Thank you very much for that. Lovely. Thank you. Thank you. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, we are moving on to our next section this evening, and that is of table topics. Chandada, are you ready to take over with table topics?
Yes, good evening once again, Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters, and our distinguished guests. Without further ado, I'll just jump into it, looking at the time. I have 7 questions in front of me here, and I would like 3 volunteers just so that we can speed it up. Do we have any volunteer to take the first one? You can just raise your hand or unmute your mic. Any takers, or should I just pick randomly?
Hi, Chanda. I think in the interest of time, may I request that we just pick 2 questions, and then if there's nobody that volunteers, you can go ahead and select any one of your choice.
Oh, great.
Dapiwa
I
has
do have
raised.
volunteers. I've
Dapiwa
got
has
2
raised.
volunteers. I've got Matsidiso and Ndapiwa. I think Ndapiwa picked up her hand first. Ndapiwa, please choose a number between 1 and 7.
Good evening. Good evening. I choose lucky number 5.
Lucky number 5. What is one lesson failure? What is one lesson failure has taught you that success never could? What is one lesson failure has taught you that success never could?
A lesson that failure has taught me that success never could. A lesson that failure has taught me that success never could is the capacity that I have to be more than what I see myself to be today. With success, if you continuously have success, you only see yourself as one thing. It's not easy to see yourself as somebody or a being that is multifaceted. Whereas failure teaches you that you can reach the very bottom, and yet you can scrape yourself off that floor, work your way up the ladder, and find success. So I feel that failure exposes you a lot more to the different sides of you, which you need in order to grow and be the best version of yourself. Thank you. Thank you, Toastmasters.
Thank you, Ndapiwa. Mpho, would you like to give it a go? Mpho Kabelo?
Good evening. I hope I'm audible because my internet is buffering. Am I audible?
On my end, you are a bit audible. Would you like to pick between 1 and 4?
Between which number and which number?
Number 1 and 4.
Okay, can I pick 4? I'm not too sure if it's picked.
Yes, that's fine. First impressions can open or close doors. Do you disagree or agree? And why? First impressions can open or close doors. Do you agree or disagree? And why?
There are some key lessons that I learned with regards to first impressions. They say the first 12 words are very critical. You have to make an impression. The person listening to you has to decide whether they should listen to you or not with the first 12 words that you utter. The first 12 steps, they do matter as well. From your head up to your chest level, you also have to make sure that you make your first impression. With all these three mentioned, first impressions do matter to me quite a lot. They determine whether this person should listen to you or not. Often when you meet with people, later on you worry and you wonder why this person did not pay attention to you. It's probably because your impression, you did not impress them well enough because of the words that you spoke, because of how you walked into the room, also because of how you look. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to take these three key lessons. Make sure that whenever you walk to impress, walk with confidence. Your voice should also determine whether this should listen to or not. Being a teacher, I always encourage my students to ensure that all the time they speak.
Thank you, Mpho. I think we got the gist of your answer to that question, although the internet had you lost a bit there towards the end. Thank you very much for participating in the table topics. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Oops, I think I was on mute. I hope I'm audible now. Perfect. Thank you very much, Table Topics Master. Thank you for coordinating and facilitating that section. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, as the program director, I do have the flexibility and authority to make adjustments where necessary in the program. And I do believe that right after Temba's speech would have been a perfect opportunity to actually get our questions in. So I just want to find out from Temba if he's available so we can just have him for a few seconds. Temba?
Madam Toastmaster of the evening, we lost
ma'am.
him. He's
We
trying
lost
to
him.
rejoin.
Okay, perfect. That's fine. Let's move swiftly along. Next up, we have the Hackmaster session, and that will be facilitated by Hasina. Hasina, please join me on the virtual stage.
Hello.
Please also note the best
Okay.
effort poll has been launched for you to vote for our best effort speaker of the evening. You can vote while Hasina continues.
Yeah. Hi. So I have been asked to ask only 3 questions, and I'm going to ask you very simple questions. The first one is, our speaker number 2 used a metaphor. Do you remember what was it? Anyone remember? Please unmute everyone. I would request everyone to unmute themselves. What was the metaphor used by our second speaker, Keletso? She used a metaphor for us, life. Life is a
Marathon.
Yeah. Thank you. You are listening. Our speaker Inda Piva number 3. She used a common saying that vision without action is. Can you complete the sentence? She said, vision without action is just a. Sorry, I couldn't hear.
That's the wish.
It's just a wish. Did you say that?
Yes.
She said vision without action is just a wish. Okay. My third question, who used the word of the day for the very first time in our meeting, today's meeting? Which speaker? Which speaker? Palesa, very good. So is my time up?
Hi, Hasina. You can just ask 2 more.
2 more, yeah, because they were very small ones. Our speaker, Takiso, she was asked by her mentor one question. Do you remember that? Anyone?
What is she waiting for?
Yes. What exactly are you waiting for? Then our first speaker, she was, what was the factor she found hindrance to join the Toastmaster for a very long time? What delayed her? What was the
Busy
challenge she
schedule.
was facing? Yes.
Schedule.
And our speaker number, just one more, I can ask. Yeah, Kakelelo Mokotsi. She has presented her experience about traveling. It was regarding about which two countries?
UK
UK.
and
Lesotho.
Lesotho.
Yes. And what was her weapon when she hiked the mountain at Lesotho?
A rock.
Sorry?
Stone.
Oh, a rock. Yeah.
A rock.
Stone.
Yeah.
It was a stone. Okay, I think I'm not giving you enough time to answer. Sorry for that.
Hi,
Okay.
Hasina.
Okay, so my time is up. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Madam Hackmaster. Toastmasters and esteemed guests visiting Toastmasters, we have come to the end of the second session. We are now moving on to the evaluation session. Here at Toastmasters, we believe that evaluation is the breakfast of all champions. So this is where I will now move swiftly along and hand over the baton to our general evaluator. But firstly, let me check if Temba is back on the call.
Yes.
So maybe, oh yes, perfect. Hi, Temba.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Thank you. Network is a challenge tonight. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect. Once again, I'd like to say thank you for giving us time this evening. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be with us this evening. Thank you very much. And we thoroughly enjoyed your presentation this evening. And I do believe there's a few questions on the floor. So I would just like to take this opportunity to get those in. Yeah. The unarmed counter is probably at number 10 for me. I've said so many flowers this evening. I'm just going to check on the call. Do we have any questions for our guest speaker? Questions, comments regarding his speech, his preparation for the international speech contest? Tumelo, I know you had a question
I
or a
have
comment
several,
rather.
but I wanted our members to ask first. Yes, there's a hand.
Okay, I see two hands, Leah or Matsiriso. I'm not sure who went first.
Matidiso's hand is always up. She's the
Oh, yes,
timer.
sorry, my apologies. Lame, yes, I see Lame. Lame, yes, ma'am, you may ask your question.
Thank you, Madam Toastmasters, and good evening to Temba and Tuli, and we are grateful and thankful for having you in our meeting. Palesa, you mentioned a quote that Temba shared. Can you kindly just reiterate it? And my question is with regard to that quote to say to Temba, how did you come to the realization of that quote? What's the story behind that quote?
Okay, the quote is fear germinates in the darkness of ignorance.
Yes, what's the story behind that quote?
It's lame, Mtecho, right?
Lame.
Lame. Thanks for that question, Lame. I wish there was a really profound story behind it, but it's more about my speech development process. So I'd normally practice my speech in the mornings after having my coffee. There's a nice big park behind from where I live. And I'd walk through the park. There's like a hiking trail kind of thing. And I'd be reciting my speech as I walk. And normally I get ideas as I'm saying the speech back to myself. I think about what I'm saying. And the idea just popped in my head, to be honest. So it's just one of those things which I can say I'm grateful it came from the heavens. And it came as clearly as I've delivered it in the speech. So I didn't have to rework it. I just thought, fear emerges when people don't have knowledge and information. And then, that was it. So that is how the quote came about.
I have a question.
Yes, Leah.
Is this your first time participating in the speech contest?
Yes, International Speech Contest, first time. I participated last year in the evaluations contest, but I was still too junior from a levels point of view to participate in international. So this is my first international speech participation. Yeah.
Oh, so you're not very old in Toastmasters?
No, I'm not a veteran at all. Actually, I joined Toastmasters 2 years ago. July, August is going to be my second anniversary. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Okay. We have another question from Kagelelo.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Thank you very much, Tamba, for gracing us with your brilliance. I had the opportunity to see you deliver your speech live, and I was blown away, especially on how you wrote that speech. Like, it was so unpredictable. There was a lot of curiosity to ask the audience. We didn't know where you were taking us with your speech. So I was really wondering how you got to write that speech. Like, how do you structure it, your methodology behind writing that kind of a speech?
Sure, that's such a great question, Kagelelo. I've got a pretty fixed process of speech development, that most of us learn through Toastmasters, from ideation, to essentially the opening. I think for me, the opening is very important to connecting the ultimate message that I want to give, because the opening then allows me direction as to how I'm going to flow towards the message that I want to deliver. But once I had the speech together in my sort of first draft, I had delivered the speech at the club sometime last year, and it's my president who reminded me of the speech, which I had enjoyed delivering. And when she suggested me going back to that speech, I actually immediately agreed with her, because I remember how I felt delivering the speech. But then a lot of work had to go into that speech, making it contest ready. I spoke at a number of clubs. There's a club in Johannesburg called Golden Gavel, and anyone who wants to really take their speaking up a notch, I'd suggest that you deliver your speech to Golden Gavel. They are an online club. And the qualitative feedback I got from the guys, so they, after delivering the speech, they all give you an evaluation, and they're all DTMs, and they focus on different aspects of the speech. And I actually just recorded the entire evaluation, which was about 10 minutes long. And I realized that the speech development from the listener's point of view was a little bit different to the speech development from my point of view as the deliverer. So I had to include some of the suggestions that they made. I tested them at area, and I tested them at division, and I could see the difference in the audience response when I included some of those adjustments. And so, to answer your question in brief, the speech development process is a combination both of my own process, mostly which comes from the Toastmasters manual, and combined with a lot of practice in front of very experienced audiences who were then able to give me qualitative pointers that could help me to refine how that message comes across.
Right. Thank you very much, Themba. Thank you for giving us the time tonight and answering the questions. So that was an original quote. So we can quote you on that, right? It's original to you.
Quote me.
We can literally,
Please,
we can literally
after the
say,
squiggle,
speech
put my
Germany.
name.
Yeah, and then we'll put your name in quotes at the end. Perfect. Got it.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Right.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you
It's
so
been
much.
lovely being with you. I'm going to drop off now, but thank you for the invite. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Okay, Toastmasters and guests, that was our international speech contest finalist, Mr. Themba Ntuli. And I hope you took his notes and advice into consideration. And for those of you who would like to participate in the speech contest in the future, that's just something for you to note in the future, something that can help you elevate your speeches going forward. Right. We are now at the end of, no, our final section this evening. Our meeting this evening has been very long. We apologize, but I do believe our evaluators and role players will try and make it brief. I would like to hand over to our general evaluator this evening, who will be leading our next session. And from me, I'd like to say thank you very much for participating, for being an engaging audience. I had a fantastic time. And I'd like to hand over the baton to Tumelo Mapa. No. Yes, Tumelo Mapalala.
Yes, it is me. Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the evening, Palisa. Wow, I nearly forgot my role. But as I said, I'll be running the evaluation segment of the evening, and I'd like to ask, it's a special pardon for tonight's meeting. I'd like to ask all our evaluators to keep it very brief. So you have 2 minutes. Timer, please. This is a table topic-esque type of evaluation. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Thulaganyo Zelda Tshanagai, who was evaluating our first speaker, Katlego Lentsokwane. Thulaganyo, please make your way to the stage. Keep it brief and tell Katlego how she did tonight.
Thank you, Tumelo. I promise to keep it brief. I'll just go straight to the point. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you for completing your very first icebreaker speech, Katlego. I think you did a wonderful job. Oh, should I switch on my video?
Yes.
I'd like to congratulate you for making your very first icebreaker speech. I think you did a wonderful job. Sorry. I'm trying to connect my video, or should I just proceed without the video?
Please proceed.
Oh, okay. I will start with what I loved the most about your speech. I would like to, I was quite impressed with how you delivered your speech, Katlego. I thought it was pretty authentic, and it allowed us, the audience, to immediately connect with you. I loved how composed you were and how calm you appeared on stage. I mean, compared to the very first time we met you at the physical meeting, I think you did a great. I saw a great improvement today because you could compose yourself, even though you kept on saying you were shaking, but I felt like you did a pretty good job at composing yourself. I also like how you immediately captured the audience attention by using your hand gestures and your storytelling. I think it was pretty fantastic. I immediately wanted to listen to what you're going to say. I also loved how your speech was clear from the beginning and also the middle and your conclusion. It was very clear. I also loved how the audience was engaging with you through reactions. I saw a lot of reactions on the screen, a lot of smiles. It means even though you're saying you're nervous, the audience was still interested in your speech. What I would want you to work on as your eye contact, I noticed that there's at some point where you're just staring at the screen. I would advise you to expand your eye contact across the screen, which is your audience. That way you'll be able to connect with the audience throughout the speech. And also with your vocal variety, I noticed that at some point it's like your tone was almost the same. I would like for you to, play around with your tone so that we can capture the audience attention. With your gestures, I felt like I loved how at the very beginning of your speech, you used your hand movements all the time. You did okay, I don't know how to say it, but your hand gestures, I loved how you used them at the beginning of your speech. That way I wanted to listen to your speech, but I would want you to be more intentional with your movement to emphasize important parts of your speech. What I would want you to challenge yourself in is using your movement. I felt like at some point you are standing in one position. I would want for you to move around and use your space. That way it will still keep the interest of your audience throughout your speech. But all in all, I would say congratulations on taking this very important first step in your Toastmasters journey. I'm looking forward to seeing your continued growth as a speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Thulaganyo. Moving right along, I'd like to invite Liam Sunga, who was evaluating another icebreaker by Keloto Maidi.
Thank you so much, Madam General Evaluator. And to you, Geleto, as you started your Toastmasters journey today, in terms of what I picked up that you did well, it's clear that you have that general understanding about the basics of a speech structure, because you had an introduction, then you had a body, and then you had a conclusion. So that did come out from your speech today. We got to, and one of the main things obviously of an icebreaker speech is for you to introduce yourself to the club, and I think you have definitely achieved that because we got to learn a little bit about you today. You shared your story, and we always say in Toastmasters, we love hearing stories because that's helps us to connect with you more, and it helps us also to remember your story when even after you have left the virtual stage. So well done in doing that. I definitely know about your love for fitness. I think that's the main thing that really came out, how much you just love fitness. And of course, you also told us the reason why you are here. You want to learn to be free, and which was also part of even your conclusion in terms of your call to order. So I thought that was really well done. So in terms of items that I picked up that you may want to work on, like I said, obviously, since you are just starting off on your journey, one thing that you should just be aware of is that when you come to the stage, whether it's here virtually or even in person, the Toastmaster of the day always introduces you, even your speech title. So when you come to the virtual stage or an in-person meeting, you come to the stage, you don't have to reintroduce yourself. When you get to the stage, Just get right into the speech, greet the audience, and move on. You don't have to reintroduce yourself because the Toastmaster of the day has already done that. Because that also takes away some of the time that you could have spent telling us a little bit more about yourself when you reintroduce yourself. Then the second thing that I picked up that you may want to just maybe work on, in your speech was supposed to be 4 to 6 minutes, and I know you had some challenge with seeing the timing guide. So one thing I always advise people is that have a secondary device that is timing you so that you can see for yourself how much time you have used up or how much time is left, so that you never ever speak below the time or even above the time. So if you are able to have maybe a second device, if you're on your laptop and you have a second device, whether you have a secondary phone or you have a stopwatch that you can put next to you that can help to time you, that is always great, and it will always ensure that you speak within the required time of your speech. Other than that, well done introducing yourself. You clearly know the speech structures. And just remember, don't reintroduce yourself. Toastmasters has already done that. Get a secondary device to time yourself just to ensure you speak within the speaking time. Well done, and I'm looking forward to seeing your next speech. Over to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Leah. Next, I was evaluating Toastmaster Ndapiwa van der Brink. I hope to give my evaluation in a short enough time, but not take away from your speech. So Ndapiwa, well done on that beautiful speech titled The Road to Success. The 3 things that I believe you did very well was engaging your audience. You started off asking us to close our eyes and to imagine this place. You also satisfied the objectives of the speech, which were to give a speech with the purpose. I believe that one was motivational. You also, or thirdly, you added purposeful movement that added to your speech. I do want to say the things you may want to work on, first and foremost, are that you forgot to tell us as your audience to now open our eyes. That's just the pointer for you and for everyone here. If you ask your audience to participate in an activity, also engage or activate their safety in getting out of such a zone. The 2 things I think you may want to work on are the unintentional body movement. I noticed that you were swaying for most of the time, and this could also take away from what you were trying to say. I also noticed that as much as you've learned the structure of the speech, there are some elements you need to work on, being specifically the ending. If you're motivating your audience, have a clear call to action and end as such. In the end, you can simply say thank you. You don't need to dwell on saying thank you, the audience, thank you, Toastmasters, thank you, guests, everyone in the audience. A simple, powerful closing is usually best. One way to challenge yourself, Ndapiwa, is to add a story. You are motivating us. You told us several things, several facts, several information bites about motivation, about making your bed, about so many things, but you forgot to maybe draw us in with a story. A story allows for you to add both purposeful movement and vocal variety, and also leaves or makes your speech memorable because you speak rather naturally, rather opposed to having so much information that we might not remember. In summary, the 3 things you've done well: you engaged your audience, you had purposeful movement, and you satisfied the structure of your speech. Please work on the unintentional movement as well as the structure, specifically the ending, and challenge yourself by adding a story. Thank you, and back to me. I believe the next evaluator was Toastmaster Tshepo Mahwe, who was evaluating our speaker, Kagiso Kelebemang. Tshepo Mahwe, please make your way to the stage.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Please allow me to do without the video. My connectivity is bad. Kagiso, thank you for a well-structured and insightful speech on Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring. Your presentation clearly demonstrated your understanding of the mentoring process and its importance within the Toastmasters journey. For the purpose of the evaluation, I'll give the evaluation in 3 parts: what you did well, areas of improvement, and what you can challenge yourself on. Okay, so to start off, your speech had a strong organizational flow, starting with you telling us a personal story of how you started off without being that confident, and then your time as a protege with Mentally Africa. Through the story, we are able to see how mentorship can assist an individual to better themselves. You maintained a steady pace, and your voice projection ensured that your message was heard clearly. You gave us a great ending with a call to action, challenging the audience to work on themselves. Areas of improvement, you tended to move back and forth, making it a little bit distracting for the audience. The white background ended up blending into your beautiful face, and you're not very visible. Lastly, well done on delivering a meaningful and well-structured speech. I want to challenge you to deepen the emotional impact of your story by clearly linking it to the key message, and by encouraging your audience to take action by finding a mentor. Other than that, well done for meeting the speech objectives, and all the best with your future speeches. Thank you, and back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Tshepo Magoe. I'd like to now invite Toastmaster Lami Mtetwa, who evaluated Chandada Nkwalume. Lami, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tumelo, and wonderful good evening to our fellow Toastmasters and guests. In giving my evaluation on Chandada's speech, I'll comment on what I believe worked well, and then I'll also recommend on what she can do to improve her speech. Well done, Chandada, on delivering your speech this evening. To commend you on what you did well, there was good, effective use of slides. Your slides were clear. They were visually appealing. I saw some color there, and they were well organized, which meant they really supported your message and made it easier for the audience to follow through your message. There was also a very good logical structure of your speech. Your speech had a very good beginning. It had a clear beginning, clear middle, and you provided us also with a conclusion. Vocal delivery was also on point. Even though your camera was off, your voice carried the presentation quite well. Now, what can I recommend that maybe you can employ in your next presentation to improve your presentation? The number one thing, Chandada, is for you to turn on your camera. You need to note that your face is a very vital communication tool when giving your presentations. And because your camera off, it took away that connection with your audience. You're not able to build that connection, as most of the part we only saw your slides and didn't see your face and didn't even get to appreciate your body gestures. Also, the fact that your camera was off and most of the time we were hearing only your vocals, I would have loved to maybe for you to employ a variety of vocals in terms of tone, in terms of speed. There was a point where you were asking questions, when you're giving an example about two examples. I would have loved for you to hear you vary your tone and speed. Also, the last thing is for you to strengthen your audience connection. Maybe a simple, when you're at the start of your speech, maybe you could have switched on your camera, then give us a simple greeting for us to see your face and appreciate the voice behind the presentation. And probably at the end of your presentation, you could have switched on your camera for us to also appreciate and see your face and give us a visible closing at the end of your presentation. Otherwise, you did well, or in overall, or in conclusion, I'll say you did well. Your presentation software was used effectively, good use of clear slides. Your message was clear and well structured. And just for future presentations, I will just recommend that you turn on your camera to enhance your audience engagement. Otherwise, thank you for completing your project and wishing all the best on your next project. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Lami. last but definitely not least, I'd like to invite Lazen Laser, who evaluated Kagelelo Mokgotsi. Is he still on the call? Yes.
Hello, Madam GE.
Please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. So kindly allow me to deliver my evaluator while my video is off because I'm having some challenges with my camera. Toastmaster Mogotsi, benefits of traveling. This was quite a very thoughtful speech. First, I really admired that even the purpose of this speech was to research on a particular subject and present some of the ideas and insights that you've managed to gather through your research. I loved the fact that not only did you use various aspects. For instance, during your opening of your speech, you spoke about a survey that was done by Mr. Edward on the benefits of traveling. And then during your closing, you spoke about a quote by Mr. James Patrick, where you mentioned that traveling is an opportunity to learn about other cultures. I think this used a blend of both quantitative type of research as well as qualitative, whereby with quantitative, it's more on data collection, collecting the data from what others have done, and qualitative is more based on various interactions and engagements you have conducted across various one-on-one engagements, where we're able to see that through the way that you played your conversation with the travel office at the airport. That was really spectacular because you almost gave us an opportunity to visualize, gave us an opportunity to be present in that conversation, to be in that moment, observe how stunned that conversation went. So that was really a very powerful technique that you used during a delivery. A few areas of improvement that I noted: as fluent as your delivery was, I noted that most likely due to the fear of time, there were limited pauses. Therefore, if there would have been a few pauses towards different transition parts of your speech, would have made your message really powerful and gave an opportunity to the audience to simmer the message. And the next would be a suggestion for any forthcoming projects to consider going a bit deeper on the research. For instance, you spoke about travel, so you could have considered doing a research on the different types of travel, a case study of an icon who through travel they discovered hidden potential. Some through traveling they have gotten a chance to meet the love of their life. Some through traveling they have got a chance to uncover the next opportunity. So I noticed that would have been an element that would have really add more salt into your speech. One element I would like to challenge you is the use of pros and cons to add more resonating perspective to the audience. Other than that, I commend you towards your next project. Back to you, Madam GE.
Thank you so much, Lazen. I'd like to invite the role players. First, I'd like to invite our grammarian to give the grammarian's report, followed by the R&M counter, and lastly, the timekeeper. I will keep my general evaluation very, very short. Our grammarian for the night was Tebelo. Unfortunately, we lost her. I don't know, Palisa, do you have any?
Hi, Timelo.
Oh, she's on the call. Tebelo.
Yes, she's on the call. Yeah.
All right. Yes,
Hello.
Tebelo, over to you.
Am I audible?
Hi, you're audible. Please proceed. Yes.
Okay. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests.
As the grammarian for today's meeting, overall the meeting was well conducted and members expressed themselves confidently and clearly. I noted a strong use of descriptive language and good sentence structure from many speakers. A few of our speakers also managed to use the word of the day. We have Keletso, Ndapiwa, Palesa used it more than once, and Kagelelo. Well done, guys. Unfortunately, I was having technical issues. In case I've missed something from some of the speakers, I apologize. Otherwise, this concludes the grammarian's report. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tebelo. Next, our counter was Mpokabelo. Mpokabelo, please make your way to the stage. Oh, Mpo was kicked off. She's rejoining. In the meantime, Matidiso, please give your timekeeper's report.
Okay, thank you, General Evaluator. The evaluator segment time report goes. Hulahanyo, who was evaluating Katlego, went a bit over time. She took 4 minutes, 30 seconds. Leah Musunga, who was evaluating Keletso, spoke for 3 minutes. Evaluator Tumelo spoke for 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Tepo Mahoe, who was evaluating Kariso, spoke for 2 minutes, and Lame Mutetra, who was evaluating Chandada, spoke for 3 minutes. Thank you. Over to you,
Thank
GE.
you. Yes, Mpokabelo, please deliver your counter report.
All right, thank you so much. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are. Please proceed. Yes.
All right, thank you so much. Let me give my counter report quickly. The Toastmaster of the day, you had your filler words. There was the the Leah, I picked one M. Our guest, the Temba, during the Q&A, he had his common filler being And for the speakers, I only picked from Kgatlego. She had loud sighs. And lastly, Tulaganyo, you had a lot, I couldn't keep count. You had a lot of arms. And at one point, repetition of That is my report, Madam General Evaluator, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Mpokabelo. Now for my quick general evaluation. We are very behind time. First and foremost, I'd like to just commend Gaborone Toastmasters Club for two things. First is the ambience and the program. By ambience, I mean we had the song to kick off our meeting. I hadn't heard that one in a while, so that was beautiful. And the Toastmaster of the day brought a new energy to the program, and that indeed showed us what this word is so hard for me to say. Camaraderie, yes, of the club is. The program was full. We had 8 speakers, which were giving a variety of projects, which shows that our members are speaking. And last and certainly not least, we had a wonderful guest speaker. Wowza, that's all I'm going to say. The thing I want us to work on, however, is time management. Since we had such a full program, perhaps we could have taken a few things out of the program to just make sure that our guests and everyone visiting tonight knows that we value that time. But otherwise, it's indeed a great time here at Gaborone Toastmasters. I will quickly hand over to the club president to close the meeting. Over to you, Liam Sunga. Hi, Leah.
Sorry.
Are you still on the call?
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm still here. Thank you so much for that. And as you have stated, the meeting should have ended at 8:15. It's now 20 past. Well, at this point, we just want to say thank you so much for everyone who joined us today. Our next meeting next week will be in person at Lifeline Medical Center. And let me just see if I can just share the awards. So we only voted for the best effort speaker this evening. And the best effort speaker for the evening based on your votes was none other than Kakhalelo Mokotsi. So well done, Kakhalelo. And of course, we always appreciate the people who take up roles. And thank you so much for our evaluator, Lyson Lise, and also Mpokabelo for the R counter. I think I just forgot to prepare that because I'd done this a little bit in advance. But I'll do it and I'll share it definitely on the group. Thank you so much. And then I think one final notice. As I said at the beginning of the meeting, the Toastmasters year runs from the 1st of July up until the 30th of June. So by 30th of June, new leaders should be stepping into the role of our club exco. So that's seven new people taking up various roles, from president all the way to SAA. So I think starting from tomorrow, we're going to share the link. If you feel like you wanna take up a leadership role in Toastmasters, there's the public speaking, there's also the leadership side. So if you feel like you want to challenge yourself and take up a leadership role, please feel free to nominate yourself and someone will definitely reach out to you. The beauty about Toastmasters is this is a learning environment and everything that you need to know about your role, you will be taught. The only thing that they ask from you is your willingness to say, yes, I wanna step up and see how I could help my club. Other than that, thank you once again for attending today's meeting. If you are new or a guest and you have questions, we'll remain on the call for an additional 5-10 minutes for any questions that you may have. But with that being said, I would like to then just request for the recording to be stopped and say good night to you all. We'll see you next week at Lifeline Medical Center in person. All right, so I don't know